This podcast is meant for general health information and is not meant to override any medical advice. All questions will be screened and not contain any personal information. If you want a private consultation, contact us via positivechoice.org, or you can contact your provider directly. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Hello, and welcome to the Positive Choice Wellness Podcast. My name is Melanie, and I'm an exercise physiologist.
And my name is Kimberly, and I'm a registered dietitian.
And I don't even know what we should say. Like, happy week, happy day. Like, the weather's lovely. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
You can't use it as your what brings you joy. Like, we're
Dang.
we're having a good day today. We were just chit-chatting before. It was nice.
Yes, so lovely. And it's so true. It has not been like ultra hot. It's been a good week.
It has been a good week. And you don't sound like you're a frog anymore, which is also exciting.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I'm healed. I know. Gosh, that was brutal last time. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you sound human again, which is awesome. I love it.
Me too.
So what brings you joy today, Kimberly?
Yes. Okay. So I was thinking about this. You're so good at reminding me. And, it's funny. You read memes online about this, how once you have children, you have to ask your parents for permission to like leave the house again, pretty much. So I've done that. I looped my parents in to babysit tomorrow. And my husband and I are actually having a date night, which is incredibly rare for us right now. That's what's bringing me joy. I'm very excited for it.
That is exciting. Oh yes. My gosh. What are you going to do?
I know. We are going, it's like so funny. We're going to have sushi and watch a movie. That's it.
I was to say, are you going to go take a nap?
Yeah, right. That's honestly usually high up on the list. Yes. I'll probably fall asleep during said movie, but anyway.
That's fair. That's fair.
It'll be good. How about you though? What's bringing you joy?
Oh man, I will share what's bringing me joy because you can see it on the wall behind me. No one else listening can see it.
I can see.
I made a cat art wall.
Yes, that's fantastic.
So, I have it themed with all the different things for my kitties. I'll twist my camera just a smidge. So I have my cat eating pizza, and I have another one with a cat playing a drum, and then I have one that looks like Salvador Dali, and it's just the best.
Wait, this is great for anyone who can't see, which is everyone. You did a good job with like it's the different size frames, but everything's like symmetrical. You did great. Mm-hmm. Good work. Good work.
So my goal is, because my parents are coming to town, actually, ironically, they'll be in town the same exact day the podcast launches. So
nice.
You will all know about this when they come to visit. So I'm excited about it. But I got cat themed quilts. I got cat themed sheets. There's actually a cat figurine above the door, and it's just going to look like we're unhinged cat parents. And I am so jazzed about this.
I'm about this for you. This is fantastic.
This is because, like, I know my mom's just gonna be like, "What the heck?" And I'll be like, "Yeah. I love my kitties."
Rolled hard with this room. Oh, you're gonna have to send me a picture of the cat sheets and the quilt. I got it.
I will. Oh, I will. I have them. They're here. They're ready. I was showing them off at our last staff meeting. I was like, "Look what I'm gonna do to harass my parents," and so I'm like super excited.
Amazing.
But unfortunately, as much as I'd love to talk about my kitties and being unhinged, I think we have to shift gears and be more serious. So we're going to shift gears, and we're actually going to talk about something that it's been on a lot of people's minds lately. It's the summer. It's the middle of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about motivation and why it's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that sums it up very beautifully because we wish it were. But obviously it's not quite enough.
Yeah, it's like when you're incredibly motivated on a Monday and you buy all these healthy groceries and you plan all your workouts for the week, and then you find that you do it for like a week and then you're suddenly just back to where you were the following week, and that's it. You're done. That was it. You planned it all out, and like, why are you back to where you were before?
Yes, absolutely. Right. What happened? What's shifted for me? Why did I taper off?
Mm-hmm. And I guess the way we can kind of start this conversation is motivation is like that spark that gets things going, but it's not the fuel source.
Ooh, that's such a good way to say that, because I've heard it. This is a quote from someone and I don't know who, but it's
okay. Mystery person.
Yes, exactly. motivation gets you started, habit keeps you going. And so I like that however you just worded it though, is really good.
Yeah, it's a great spark, terrible fuel source, because motivation doesn't keep us going. It's the kindling that starts the fire. Kindling doesn't last the entire time you need that fire to go. And the other thing about motivation that a lot of people don't realize sometimes is it's not linear. It doesn't just go up and stay up. It's up, down, right?
Yes, absolutely. Which I think when you say that, people can be like, oh, snap, that's true, right? Some days we are like, let's do this, tackling everything head on. And some days we're like, just getting out of bed is a win, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's why I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about, because at this stage, we're well past the beginning of the year. People who had that beginning of their motivations probably tapered off by now. And so it's that place where people feel like they're stagnating, like, oh, why am I not wanting to do all these things? Like, I've been doing them for a while. I just don't want to anymore. And maybe you wanted to get started and you just didn't get started. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. It's called you're normal. Believe it or not. That is a normal human thing to just feel like you're falling off.
Yeah. Isn't that good news to know you're normal?
Right. Yeah. It turns out we're all the same. And motivation is more like the desire to do something. It's your want or desire to get something accomplished. And it can be very powerful, right? We know motivation can be very powerful to get our foot in the door. It's extremely normal to have it, but it rises and falls. But here's the thing, like, no one, not a single person on the planet is motivated constantly. Not a single, including fitness professionals, including dietitians, like, nobody is perfect. We are not motivated constantly.
Yep, absolutely. Which I feel like should also be good news, right? Because sometimes with social media in that day and age, everyone looks motivated all the time,
Right.
Yeah.
We're seeing a piece of the picture though. Like, it's actually interesting. There was a couple people I was following on social media. Gosh, I started following them probably like over a decade ago. And then they like suspiciously stopped posting on social media for a while. And I was like, oh no, like maybe they just aren't interested anymore, because they had a huge following. They're posting daily and they stopped. And it turns out they had a kid and life got in the way and they fell off of their routine like a normal person.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow. Right. And so it's where it's worth mentioning here that when you said about like habits or what keeps you going, it's absolutely true, because like, let's look at an example. So like, let's talk about like, let's say brushing our teeth, right? I would like to hope that everybody brushes their teeth. So let's just assume we're all in good standing here. So most of us don't just wake up and go, oh boy, I can't wait to brush my teeth. Like, we don't just do that. That's just not normal. We do it because we've been doing it for so long. It's a part of our routine. You just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just do it because it's like a step that you do. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, whether you're motivated or not, your teeth are going to get brushed. It just is what it is. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about habits. You've solidified brushing your teeth as this major habit that's a part of your life every single day and has been since you were before you could probably remember. And you keep doing it. Because I asked this to my classes, like, well, what keeps you brushing your teeth now? Like, if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, like good oral hygiene, not going to the dentist, having your teeth in your head, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but I don't think that's the motivation. It's just a part of your routine at this point. Like, you just do it and there's benefits to doing it. So you keep it up, but those aren't motivating you.
Yeah.
We know that. I don't think about how much I'm not going to have my teeth pulled out of my head when I brush them every morning and night. Like, that's not the first thought that crosses my mind. So that's why we need to focus on what is motivation doing for us and how we can keep the pattern going when motivation stops doing the job we're wishing it would continue to do.
Ooh, that's good. Yep. Absolutely.
So I think a good starting point is, why would motivation disappear in the first place?
Lord. Well, let me count the ways. No, just kidding. I feel like there's so, oh my goodness, so many things that could get in the way, right? Whether it's like tired or, I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand, but just like simple, like lack of desire.
Yeah.
I don't know, lack of access or sometimes too. Like
Could
there's too many thoughts flowing through my mind. What are some of the main, like what you see with your patients? What are some of the main drop-offs of motivation?
Well,
Ooh,
obviously,
lack
like,
of results is one of mine. Sorry.
That's a big one. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's no wrong answers here. There's a bunch of different things that can influence motivation negatively, why it would disappear. And so, like, obviously poor sleep, not getting enough sleep. That's a big one. When you're exhausted, it's hard to want to do anything.
Yes.
And like full disclosure, I was at a concert till like midnight last night. So like I didn't go swimming today. I slept in. I was like, I still have to work. I know. I'm going to swim tomorrow. That's my compromise. It's my compromise.
There you go.
I know.
There you go.
I don't want to say I'm too old, but like, I'm like, I don't want to stay up till midnight anymore. I like my bed, but it's, I do, but
Totally.
like poor sleep, not getting enough sleep, that's a huge influence, right? You could be like, I don't want to do anything right now. Stress.
Ooh,
when we're under extreme amounts of stress or just any amount of stress, it can really change how we feel motivationally, what we want to do, because stress sometimes can be too powerful.
So true.
Illness or injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like this is the most underrated one out of all of them because we always talk about, oh, life, schedule, time, tired, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what if you sprain your ankle?
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
I know too many people who are super in the zone, super ready to go, super like on top of their routine, and then they get injured or they get sick. And it's like, I just can't get back on it. Like I'm better now, but I just can't get back into the zone I was in. Right.
That's
I'm sure
accurate,
this is not unknown for anybody. This is normal.
Yeah.
Obviously busy schedules especially when your schedule changes, especially if you have little kiddos. I know like, cause you have kids. So that can be a huge wrench into the mix of like, I need normalcy and that's not going to happen for 18 years. So
totally.
But that's another one. Busy schedule. It doesn't even have to be kids. Like you just have a busy schedule with work or projects or school or you name it. Anything that's like overly emotional events, maybe you had a traumatic thing happen, maybe you had a loss in the family, those can knock you down too. And it honestly is absolutely fair when you have an extreme emotional event.
100%.
Like, don't ever think we're saying this is like, oh, what an excuse. No, this is real. This is totally normal.
Very real.
And then the last one is like the decision fatigue. When you watch like a streaming service and you open it up, you're like, what do I watch? You're like, oh, there's like 5 million things I can pick. And you just like, I don't know what to pick. And you just don't pick
Overload.
anything. Yeah. Decision fatigue. That's what it is.
Okay.
So you just don't know what to do and you're exhausted trying to decide.
Okay. Cause I was going to say like, have you ever been so busy, you just get overwhelmed and you don't want to do it? Anything?
You just take a nap.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what that makes me think of. Decision fatigue.
You're so overwhelmed. You're just like, I just can't. And then you just don't.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And the other thing to recognize is like, there's more than just these that influence why we don't, stay motivated. But the main thing I want to point out is your plan for success is only going to work if it's sustainable. And if you're relying heavily on motivation, that's not sustainable.
Right. Absolutely.
As we said, it kind of up and down, up and down.
Yes. And I think we have to be flexible, right? Like, and we talk about this in class sometimes, that like meet yourself where you are, right? So your plan has to be flexible too. If your motivation is high, excellent, capitalize on it. But if you're having a low motivation day, don't do the same thing you did on a high motivation day, right? Like you have to be flexible with your plan, kind of, I don't know.
The way I like to frame it is like, lower your expectations for yourself. So lower the bar, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's, if you were to say to someone who is, let's say someone wakes up one morning and goes like, I want to run a marathon. Okay. They aren't currently running. They have not run in ages, but they wake up one morning and decide, I'm motivated. I want to run a marathon. Do they just go out and run 26.2 miles?
Let's sure hope not.
I would hope so too. And when we talk about setting the bar lower, This is where you're
Yes.
training for a marathon. So you need to start where you're at. So if you're not currently running, guess what? You're just going to have to start getting out there and doing something small, like maybe 5 minutes, not even
Mhm.
distance, just time, because
Mhm.
we can't just jump into doing something head first if we're not prepared to do it and we haven't been training for it. Same thing with food too. Like if you have not been eating healthfully for, let's say, over a year, and you decide, I want to get my act together and start eating healthy again, that's fantastic. But here's the problem. Are you going to jump in head first and replace everything in your diet right away overnight? Will that be
Right. Yeah.
sustainable? Could you continue to do that day in, day out, and indefinitely? Probably not. That's a big change.
Huge, right? And we're looking for long
Mhm.
term, like what is going to be most like I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but what's most sustainable maybe for you for a
Yeah.
long-term basis, right? Cuz often, to your point, like when we change up our whole food game, or we dive into a training routine like that after having done nothing, usually, I don't know from your experience, but usually people hate it and they never want to do
Yeah.
it again after like 2 days,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's a lot because you're putting too much stress on your body, your mind, whatever, when you're not quite conditioned for it, whether it's food or exercise. And so setting the requirements to be a little bit lower for yourself and accepting that you need to meet yourself where you're at. And you can't just dive headfirst into things like that sometimes. Like some people can, there's those anomalies, but generally speaking, most people, we don't like change at all. Like
Yep.
people don't like change. Change sucks. And so we avoid it, right? We don't like change. We don't want to do change. So we're not going to change. And as a result, because we don't like change, it's more difficult to stick with a dramatic change like that. Cause like motivation's like, aha, I can't wait to start training. And then you train and go, oh, this is awful. Ugh, I don't like this. And so we set it down to a place where it's achievable. We call it like minimum success, small habits, something small but attainable.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of running the marathon, maybe start with, okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to walk for 5 minutes, run for 1, and then walk for 5 more. And we'll start there. That's a good starting point.
Absolutely. I love that. It's so important to, like you say, lower the bar because it's, I mean, that's just how motivation is. That's just how life is. We're going to have those days where our effort is going to feel like, Yeah. And we got to meet ourselves there.
And so speaking into that, as far as like developing a habit or a routine, like brushing your teeth, when I'm talking about lowering the bar, it's I think of it like making space in your life for this new routine in a way that doesn't feel like it's overwhelming or too taxing on you. So if you're like, okay, I really want to start getting into running, example, it's about finding a way to incorporate it into a routine that's realistic for you. And so it could be, all right, well, I only have about 2 days a week I can really commit to this. That's great. That's great. Do 2 days a week. Start there. Don't look at your neighbor who's the active marathon runner who's out there running 10 miles on the weekends. Like they're not a good example. You need to look at where you're at and what works best for you. And it's getting your foot into the door. It's establishing that this is the space reserved for that behavior. And you just keep doing that small behavior because you made space for it. And as you continue to do that small behavior, you can build on it and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So it goes from maybe running 1 minute to running 3 miles, who knows, over time. But
yes,
you made the space in your life for that thing. That's what you did. And that's what we're asking you for is like, can you make space for something new, but make it so doable that you're willing to do it in that space?
Yes, I love that. It really is you versus you, right? Which is hard to do in the age of social media in general, but it really is you versus you. And how can you
100%.
be just a little bit better than you were yesterday or last week, right? Like trying to make that your focus ultimately. But I love that. There's like the baby step progression, right? To like towards whatever. And usually they say, there's another quote too that says like motivation follows action, right? So the more we like, I don't know, get out there, do the thing, take the first step, like you're saying, the more that motivation will kind of start to flow, but we almost have to like manufacture it ourselves. It doesn't just strike us like lightning.
It's It is the weirdest situation because I've personally done that like a few times, and it's so weird when it happens. And so I can attest to that from personal experience where, like, as we both know, you and I are very aware that we're swimmers. Like, we like the water. We're aquatic. Heck it's great. Started running back in a couple times. So it was 2018, back in 2020 as well. So like I started running, and I was like, I want to start running. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. I just did it. But I downloaded an app that starts you from nothing and builds you up to a 5K. Now, I'm a fitness professional. I know swimming really stinking well. I don't specialize in running. That's actually not my specialty, but I needed help because that's not what I do. And so I asked for help, and it eased me in by like 5-minute warm up, walk, do 2 minutes walk, 1 minute run, 2 minutes walk, 1 minute run, 5-minute cool down. That was the whole first day.
Nice.
And as an exercise physiologist, I was like, ugh, that's nothing. Like, come on. Like, I do more of that in my sleep. Like, this is blah, blah, blah. It was hard, but it was doable. Yeah. And so I got out there because I'm not a runner, and like 2 minutes of running, not even together, 2 minutes in total of running is hard for me. But I did it. And then I got used to it. And then the next day it's like, okay, now make that 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2-minute walk, 2-minute run, 2-minute walk, 2-minute run, 5-minute cool down. So I did that, and it built me up again and again and again. And every week I'd come out and do just a tiny bit more than I did the week before. And you know what? After 3 months, I was like running 3 miles nonstop.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. I love that because coming from a fellow swimmer, let me tell you, running and I are arch enemies. So no. So 3, that's good freaking work. That is awesome.
Yeah. So it's, and I've done this before a few times where it's little small goals that you can set for yourself that are easily accomplishable. You start lighter than you think you need to. And this, I mean, it's so hard for myself because like I set my standards really stinking high. It's what comes with the territory of being in this field. Like we all do it. And it's very disappointing when we don't reach it. But it's like, if you set the bar lower and you make it so achievable, why not? Of course you can do it. Then you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And it makes you want to do it again. That's motivation. Because you're like, oh, I did that. That wasn't so bad. I guess I could do that again. And you keep doing it until eventually I got yelled at by a friend who's like, you're running too much. Slow down, calm down. Because I was like, I got to go out and beat my personal best. And like you get motivated. It really does work.
I love that. It's that little taste of success or meeting a goal or something like that, right? That kind of fuels that fire for you. And I love it. I love that you kept wanting to push yourself to beat yourself because you want to see how far you could go or how fast you could go or whatever. Like that's the best kind of motivation, they say, that internal motivation versus like someone giving you praise, you trying to, you know, do your best, beat your best, whatever, is like that kind of best fuel source for that.
I mean, personally, if someone's like, you did great, I'm like, you're a liar. So I personally prefer to beat my own times because I'm like, I'm not lying to me. But yeah, like everyone's different. So everyone knows what works best for them. But that personally, I'm more of a, no, don't praise me. I got this. Like, let me work on myself. So
I love that. We do. It's true.
Because like, I don't believe you. You're just saying that to make me feel better.
Yeah, you just feel bad for me. I kind of do that too, actually.
Yeah, like sometimes people do that. And so for me personally, it's more about how I can improve myself. And maybe it comes with the territory of being a swimmer, which is a very independent type activity. But either way, we all have our known preferences. And so lean into them. Like if you are someone who's like, no, I love when people praise me, then absolutely get your praise. Go join a team sport where people go, good job. Like, and everyone knows what works best for them. So there's no right or wrong answer here. But I know we're leaning heavily into the exercise component, but like nutrition works in the same vein, right? So if you lean into the nutrition instead of exercise, I just used an easy example, but you know, let's say your habit is I want to get on top of, let's say, tracking my food. What would we do? Let's role play, Kimberly.
I know. I was just thinking if external motivation is your thing, this is actually where like technology I feel like can come in handy because I'm personally, I'll be honest, I don't do it every day, but I am a believer in tracking our food. And like when I get on my app and track my food, it gives me like a woohoo, you did X amount of days in a row or whatever. Right. So sometimes I feel like this is where technology can come in handy or
absolutely
or whatever. But now I forgot your question. It's about tracking food though.
Yeah, no, it was going to be like, so establishing a habit in the same exact way that we would do with the running example.
Yeah, 100%. Well, good gravy. I mean, see, this is where, okay, I'm going to be fully transparent. This is where motivation is a hard topic for me because my personal life, I'm like, I just got to do the thing because I'm supposed to do it, you know?
You've established those habits.
Right. But for someone who is wanting to track their food and struggling with it, I think that there's, what I would maybe call forced motivation, where you would like put a sticky note on your mirror or make an alarm go off on your phone where you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm doing that today. And I'm going to do it right now because the thing went off and it's like reminding me right now,
Yeah. Having reminders. I like that.
Right. Exactly. Having reminders. That was a much easier way to say that.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for,
I appreciate that. You just take my sauce and made it normal. But what about you? What do you think when it comes to that?
So like when it comes to tracking, obviously there's a bazillion different ways to track. There's no right or wrong way to track. But if your goal is I want to start tracking my food more, and that's just cumbersome and tedious and I hate it, what elements of it do you dislike? And can you find a way to do it where those elements maybe are less so or less required? Some people do really well with apps that do like the AI scanning, which looks at their food, says this looks like about what you have. And like, it's so much easier and they're more inclined to do that. Right. There's other things where people take pictures of their food and they just can go off of the pictures to know what they had throughout the day. Like I personally, I don't love tracking. Like I don't really know a single person who does love tracking, but fair. I'm not as consistent with it as I should be. And I think it's mostly because, it's kind of like, it's tedious. It's just like, it's another thing I have to do. But if I set aside time, let's say first thing in the morning when I wake up, I could either be scrolling around on the internet or I could be in my app pre-planning what I intend to eat for the day. It takes me all of 5 minutes. It's very, very small amount of my day. And I'm already like on my phone anyway. So what am I doing otherwise? And I might just plan things out and see how it goes. And that's something that I've started doing and incorporated and just maintain. And it's not perfect, but it definitely has helped facilitate more of a tracking, mindset, which when do I have downtime where it's definitely feasible for me to do this? And let me just do it. And unfortunately it kind of follows behavior. So it's like I said, it's not perfect. I don't do it every day, but like there's a lot of mornings I do where I wake up, I'm like, first thing, let's track. Sometimes it's right after the meal, but you get into the routine of it. It gets easier. Yeah.
Yes. The more frequently you do it, the easier it does get. But that is, I love that because we generally wake up and almost read our phones like the newspaper, right? So if you just took a little bit of time from that and loaded your food for the day or played around with it to kind of like see how your day might look, I think that's really smart. And for anyone who's like technology, I mean, you could just use a good old pen and paper too if you really wanted to.
Yep. Absolutely could.
Just accountability is really all it brings you, which, and I'll be honest, from the motivation side, I think it's helpful to like see that you've put together the right food groups, right? Or maybe you've done a really good job today, better than you thought, right? Like something like that. When we see bits of our life written out, whether it's the movement, like with your steps, maybe it's the tracking your food, whatever. When we have something written out and we're able to see it, it's easier to give yourself kudos perhaps, or, maybe see where there's a gap you need to fill. But
absolutely. It's consistency. It's just being consistent.
Yes, exactly.
And then the last thing that I think is worth addressing here before we wrap things up is we won't succeed 100% of the time every time, unfortunately. There's such things called setbacks. We all have them. Fitness professionals, nutrition professionals, setbacks are real. Life is life. but it's what we do after we experience a setback. Because I think the challenge with motivation is you're motivated, everything's going well. And this is a great example of a setback. So I used it earlier, but let's say you're like, I'm motivated, I'm going to go run marathon. And then you start working on your running. And let's say you're doing great. Like you're motivated and you've been like sticking to it. You're like, yeah, I got this. I'm doing it. Nah. You sprain your ankle. You sprained your ankle.
Yes.
Now what? Right? Now what? And is that not a setback? That's
absolutely.
a huge setback.
Huge, especially
Huge.
because it's by force, not by choice.
Yeah.
Right? So that brings
Exactly.
makes it different.
Yeah, it's not even that you just skipped a day. It's that you can't run. Your ankle is swollen.
Yes.
So
exactly.
what do you do? What do we do?
Oh, that's a hard one because like my knee jerk reaction is like, ugh,
Cry.
Yeah, exactly. I've been working for this and now I can't. And honestly, it would be to throw a little pity party.
You
like
could,
just
yeah.
be sad for myself. So what's your, well, I mean, that's a very specific example, I guess, but what would be your recommendation in that one? In like, okay, you're working on this fitness thing, you got injured. Now
Yeah.
what do you do?
So there's two things. So the first one is you're going to feel sad. That is guaranteed.
At least that's
You
okay.
were in the zone, motivated, happy. Let's do this. Push, push, push. You sprain your ankle. There's grief. You're going to have to grieve the change now in your routine. It's going to suck. You're going to feel bummed out because, yeah, you were working your butt off and now here we are set back. And like, it's out of your control. There's literally nothing you can do but heal. And the second thing, after you allow yourself to feel sad, is not let it take over. Because now you can still maintain healthy habits. You can still do other things fitness wise. It just may not look like running. Maybe it's going to have to be something different. Maybe you're like, okay, well, while my ankle is healing, I can at least focus on doing stretches, or I can at least focus on doing some strength training, or maybe I can put on a boot and do like a recumbent bike or something, right? Like you have options. But it's being okay with things looking a little different temporarily and recognizing that, okay, it's a setback that happens. Now we have to reframe stuff for a little bit until we're back on track. And then we can go back to where we were before. But like it happens to the best of us. I've too many times myself, I have been in the zone, sprained my ankle and I'm out of the zone. And it's like, you throw out your back, you hurt your shoulder, you hurt your knee. Injuries happen. They do.
Absolutely.
Even to people who are very fit.
That's true. That's true. It's so easy to get in that which was what I was doing, getting that all or nothing, right? Like this is it and it's taken away and now I can't do it. So that's one of the beautiful things about health in general, right? But movement, there's so many different things that we can do. Guaranteed we can find a way to move our bodies that's like around the pain point.
I always think back to when the pandemic hit, because this is just we all experienced it. So it's like when the pandemic hit, I was regularly like, I had a gym job. Like I was teaching group fitness classes 3 days a week. I was working out regularly. Like I had a routine, and then the pandemic hits and all of a sudden my routine's just thrown on its head. I'm like, well, not going to the gym. So what do I do? And it was out of my control. Like I didn't have access to the things I had before. And I was motivated to work out, but I didn't have those things. And it sucked. And like, I did throw a pity party for a couple of weeks. Like I was bummed out. Like I couldn't do what I wanted to do 2 weeks. I was like, well, I guess I'll just lay here and mope, because I was bummed. And then after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, I can't keep moping. I need to do something. So what can I do? And that's the second time I started running. So I started running because it's really all I had to do. But you find something that'll work. And so for me with the pandemic, that was my setback. Like, well, I don't have access to the places I used to go. So now I have to be creative. But like, if you go to, let's say, a party, like you are eating really healthy, everything's been going well, you go to a party and you're like, oh man, I blew it. I just totally went off the rails. I did all the things I wasn't planning to do. What do you do in that instance? Right?
Absolutely. I mean, those are the types like where in research, it says the biggest like difference between people who are successful and who aren't, because everyone in their life, regardless of how strict and healthy and whatever on it you are, we're going to have those moments of like temptation and slip up and whatever. And what makes the difference is the folks who choose to get back on it right away. versus people who do not, right?
Mhm.
So if we do have a weekend or a day or whatever like that, we don't need to wait for the first of the next month to make a good choice, or like Monday of the
No.
next week or whatever, or,
Yeah.
like the first of the next year. We can just make the next choice be a healthy one. And I think sometimes that in and of itself can fuel some motivation, because you're like, okay, no, I do know what is right. I can make a good choice, right? Like I can
Exactly.
start to chip away at XYZ, whatever it is you're looking to do.
I'm one choice away from getting back on track.
I love that. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Some good little nuggets you're dropping today.
I know, I'm just amazing. No, but it's really
Like
just,
I do this for a living.
It's like I do this. But no, the main thing is really just being kind to ourselves, accepting
Yeah.
that we're not going to be perfect. It's about consistency. It's not about how big the task is. It's about just getting an aspect of it done, maintaining the habit. Because the more you do it, the more second nature it becomes. And before you know it, it'll be just like brushing your teeth, where you don't have to think about it. It just happens. Like kind of how you said, Kimberly, it's like, I don't know, I just gotta do them. Yeah, like brushing your teeth, you just kind of do them. And so you get into such a routine that carries you when
Just
motivation
do it.
isn't there. You do it to the
Absolutely.
point where you just can do it, right? Because
Yeah.
even when you're not motivated, you still brush your teeth. So
Right. Exactly.
I'm saying.
So you just do it until it becomes, I don't want to say subconscious, but like nearly, right? Where you just do
pretty
the
much
thing.
automatic. You just
Yeah,
roll right
exactly.
into
There
it.
you
You don't
go.
think about it. Yeah.
Automatic. It makes me think of like you get in the car, you buckle your seatbelt, right?
Exactly.
Like things like that. So
Yeah.
I love that. So that means repetition, right? We got to do it and do it and do it and do it. And then eventually we'll get there.
Small. Make it
But small.
so it's so stinking easy. Of course you can do it. So
Yes.
maybe there's a day that you've been, I'm just gonna use the example of running again. Maybe there's a day you've been running, and you're like, I'm just, I don't want to today. I'm tired. That's the day you go for a walk.
Love
Just
it.
go for a walk that day. That's okay.
Yes.
You get to running the next day. Whatever.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. Do what feels comfortable. Make it doable.
Yes. Meet yourself where you are. 100%.
Exactly. But unfortunately, it's about that time.
It flies.
It does fly. It goes so fast. But thank you all for taking a listen here. And I appreciate everyone who's been here with us for this lovely journey that we've had so far. We're almost 100 episodes in. It's wild.
Are we? That's exciting.
Yeah, I think we're like 10 away. No, we're 11 away. We're very close. So we're going to throw a party.
Heck yes.
But with that being said, if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Feel free to comment below. If you have any questions or would like to work with us, you're more than welcome to call Positive Choice, and we work with people around the world. But with that being said, until next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.